I don't think you guys understand my pure hatred for middle school. It was literally the worst years of my life. I think it's the worst years of everyone's life. At least every American kid. Look, to all of you who are in middle school and actually liking it, you are so lucky. I wish I were you. To the ones that don't, it's okay. Things get better in high school. Kinda. Okay, I didn't have the worst experience in middle school. It wasn't like I got in trouble a lot or got bullied or anything like that. But everything about middle school is so awkward that I just want to hide that part of my life in the back of my brain. Preferably, I would rather be locked in a cage, surrounded by fire, and covered in acid. The funny part was, though, at the time, I was having the time of my life. It's really funny, because once I got to high school and started looking back on middle school, that's also when I realized very quickly that I was very, very, very wrong. There are multiple reasons middle school sucks, but why don't we start with some simple ones? The teachers. Now, here's been my experience with middle school teachers. They're either awesome, terrible, or cringy. The awesome ones that I remember were usually the ones that were just super cool and understanding to the fact that everyone at that age had a superiority complex and thought we were in the best years to be alive. They were the ones who talked about the real world, called kids out when they needed to, and gave us a significantly smaller amount of work compared to my other classes. Or work that was easier. I think I only had 1 or 2 of those in middle school. Honestly, very disappointed in that fact. But what can you do? The lack of these teachers is what makes middle school so miserable. Anyway, moving on to the terrible teachers. There are way more of these than middle school has the right to have. Seriously, these are the ones that make teaching look like such a miserable job. Because they look completely and totally miserable. These are the people that drop subtle hints that they didn't want the job in the first place, and they're just making everyone else pay for that fact. These are also the ones that try to convince you that high school is the strictest system to ever live, and basically set us up to hate it, probably because they themselves peaked in high school and are very aware of it. The fact that I can list them all off in my head in the span of 5 seconds is pretty explanatory to why this is terrible. Now we can move on to the cringy ones. Now, these are the ones that want to be cool, but try so hard that they're just feeding into the weird kids and making themselves look like dorks. You know, the ones that try to use cool lingo and be in school drama and stuff intentionally? Yeah, those weird ones. Okay, I thought teachers were bad, but when I really think about it, the kids were way worse. Like the teachers, there are categories of kids. The difference is, there are way more categories of kids than there are of teachers. I mean, have you seen high school and middle school movies? There are more cliques in school than there is money in my bank account. That's a joke. But there are a lot of cliques, so I'll just talk about the kids that made my life miserable. I wasn't popular. I mean, I wasn't a loser either. Kids have known me through both middle school and high school, and my friends and I were well liked. I wasn't what was considered popular, though. The popular kids were the ones that were terrible to be around. At least some of them, anyway. Those are the ones who were mean, good at a lot of things, and they were better at everyone at everything. They were the same people that were convinced everything that left your mouth was cute or funny because it was slightly awkward in their eyes. Honestly, I would take the weird kids over them. Well, it depends on how weird. There were some weird kids in middle school that I'd rather forget about, but I'm sure I could search the depths of my memory for them and tell you guys about them if I wanted to. If you're curious about what they were like, though, let's just say someone one time took a chunk of my hair because he wanted to use it for some sort of voodoo project. I still shudder to this day. Now, here's one more reason that it's just totally terrible. Middle school is just what it says. In the middle. And unlike popular belief, not everything is best in the middle. When you're a middle schooler, you're a preteen. When you're a preteen, you're just this weird in-between of being a teenager and a kid. But you're not cute enough to be a kid, and not attractive enough to be a teenager. Well, some are and some aren't. I was not. I was finally getting the freedom to dress and be the way I thought I wanted to be. The issue was that I didn't know how to dress or be, so I'm pretty sure I was just embarrassing myself at that point. If I didn't have my friends helping me out, I'm not sure how embarrassing my middle school life would have ended up being. Yeah, so it's safe to say, I hated middle school. It was a world in which everyone wanted to be grown up, but wasn't old enough to be. It was a world that you didn't want to be in because you wish you were still kind of a kid, but now everyone's saying it's time to start thinking of the future. Was it totally terrible? Yes, absolutely, but I made some super great memories regardless. And, not to mention, you have to struggle a little bit before you prosper, right? Middle school is just that though.